welcome. We are live here at Workhorse Wrestling Network. Normally we have Slim and Sammy Joe bringing us in, but he is a little MIA at the moment. I assume we'll hear from him anytime, so I'll go ahead and do it. We're here tonight for episode 3 of the Cookout podcast. It's me, your boy ALW, with our friend CM, Miss Anika, and the Negro Buck. Special guest tonight. Thanks for joining us, and
Thank you for having me.
everyone in the chat. Thanks for joining. Please chat in. Let us know your thoughts. Hit that like button. Please subscribe if you haven't already. Stay tuned. There will be more content coming. And what do we want to talk about first? Are we going to do? For the two topics for tonight's show are going to be the top 3 viable options to beat Roman Reigns and top 10 tag teams of all time.
Ooh, that'll be. I got a feeling that list is going to be a little divisive, but I'm ready for it.
Which one?
It shouldn't.
It'll just be interesting, though, because, I mean, I'm sure that some of us will have teams that other people don't. Just because I know, I'm sure we all kind of probably started watching wrestling around different times and stuff.
Right.
I mean, definitely me, I'm only... I'm still a baby. I'm still a baby. I'll say that.
I have,
That's what everyone tells me.
I haven't my issue with all times is it being old. Like when I think of all time, I immediately think old, and I have to bring myself to think of recent stuff. I mean, I have to force myself to think of recent teams because I don't know. I always think of the old stuff. So which one do we want to start with?
Well, first off, thoughts, prayers, good energy up to
to Hangman Adam Page. For sure.
Good call.
Yeah, for sure. Just on that note, just keeping it short and sweet. Yes, thoughts and prayers to Hangman. It was definitely a very scary image, and you could tell, how worried people were. You can tell by what was going on that this was real and not scripted. So, I mean, everyone keep that in mind.
Mm-hmm.
I've been a Hangman Adam Page fan ever since I first saw him in Ring of Honor feuding with Jay Briscoe in about 2014. I watched him join the Bullet Club. I watched his entire ascent with the Elite through BT and into AEW. He's one of my favorite wrestlers of all time. And prayers up to you, Adam. We are all hoping for the best for you. We all love you, and we wish you a speedy recovery.
Much love, Hangman.
The words of the Negro Buck do reflect the thoughts and views of
They
words.
do. They do.
No, we agree. We all agree 100%. And thoughts and prayers to Hangman Page. And hope he's okay. It was a good episode of Dynamite.
It was, definitely.
It was a really good episode of Dynamite.
A very fun episode of NXT.
I didn't watch that.
Who watches that?
I kind of went between, but what I saw was good. I mean, it makes sense when they were plucking all these people from Raw and SmackDown.
Honestly, I didn't think we're going to Triple H wanted to straight up beat AEW. I think he was like, if I had my roster of who I wanted to go against AEW in the Wednesday Night Wars, it would have been this roster.
Yeah.
It would have been Shinsuke. It would have been KO. It would have been
Rhea.
It would have been I think I'm not sure.
I could have seen Gallows and Anderson on there.
Gallows and Anderson, probably put AJ Styles in there as well. That and Finn Balor.
Love that. Yes.
That would have been his roster. That's what makes me mad when people were like, AEW straight up, they beat him. It was like going against a bazooka with a Swiss Army knife. It really was. That was not Triple H's roster he wanted to go to war with. But he did what he could. But yes, he would have had definitely KO.
He didn't have the full reins, for sure. I was happy that I tuned in towards the beginning and I got to see my girl, Poppy Rhea. I love you, baby. So that was good.
Y'all got all that, and we got Riho, and y'all still gonna lose.
I lost my shit for Riho as soon as I heard that because I love her theme music. I was so happy, and I looked at my mom too. Right whenever she came out, and I was like, I need a Riho Jamie Hayter match, and they listened to me for next week.
You remember how JR pitched Gail Kim to Vince? Yeah. Same demographic watches NXT. That's how we will win. Well,
JR, we already knew. Like, why was he recruiting people in the first place? No offense. He ain't never wrestled nobody. He was a straight up commentator. So why was he even in the room? Well, why was he even in the room? I ain't even gonna say nothing about that.
We have a lot of questions about WWE that need to be answered.
You could fill books with all those questions.
No doubt.
I don't think I want the answers to some of them. I think I don't want to be held legally accountable for some of them.
Oh, yeah.
Docu-series, all that good stuff.
That's about 8 seasons worth of Dark Side of the Ring.
Dawson Castle definitely carried Christopher Irvine.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Dalton was thicker than he looked last week. I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
that body suit gonna do you justice.
That was
you got some muscles on you.
Yeah. It was decent. The boys and Hager just got super distracting towards the end, but
Yeah, Hager's my LVP for that show for the stupid purple hat and for
I like this hat.
Dawson needed a
He stole Nick Camarado's pimp hat for the week.
Yeah. But props to Dalton Castle. Hopefully we see him more on AEW, and hopefully he's a fixture of Ring of Honor whenever they're back on the air.
Dalton had to literally carry Jericho. He needed a break because his back was hurting so much.
Yeah, he already got a bad back. He was at a disadvantage as opposed to like Moxley and Eddie and all those other people that been carrying Jericho.
Right? That's what happens when you're 150 years old.
But honestly, that's probably the most entertaining Hager has been in a minute. I loved him. I loved that part. It was so stupid. It was so good and
this
stupid.
hat. Oh man.
The
boys are hilarious.
That's Garcia's hat.
Yeah.
The boys are great. They make me laugh for sure.
And they're back in town.
Mm-hmm.
I had to. It was right there. All right. Anybody got anything else they would like to say about the greatness of AEW or whatever it is that NXT did?
You know.
Can we just talk about how dumb it was having Austin Theory come out at the end of NXT? Or not just how dumb it was. Can we just talk about the stark difference in Austin Theory in Vince McMahon's WWE as opposed to Triple H's WWE?
So I don't think I'm gonna go with this because I think SP3 said it best. Triple H told this boy, "All right, you're not cashing this in on Roman.
No.
That's not a good storyline. I can't write that to make you look good. So the best thing I can give you is for you to cash it in on Braun Breaker. We're gonna give you the Mandy Rose treatment. We're gonna give you like 2 other dudes in your stable.
Nah.
You're gonna be for a whole year. You're gonna be so dominant. It's gonna piss a whole lot of people off, but you're gonna be dominant. We're gonna build you up for a whole year.
We're gonna make you look so strong.
We're gonna bring you back, and then hopefully you'll be better. But you're not cashing that in on Roman. That's
I would have just had him.
What I got from him.
I mean, if it was me, like he'll cash in on Roman and he gets squashed in 5 seconds. He's with the ref. The ref's like, "Are you sure you want to cash this in?" "Yes, I want to cash it in." "Are you sure?" "Yes." Ring the bell. Turn around. Spear. 1, 2, 3. I mean,
I want Theory.
Sorry about it.
I wanted Theory to cash it in on Roman, and I wanted him to win.
Me too.
So.
Me too. But there's no way you can do that. They haven't booked him like that. He's not been pushed enough to do that.
I wanted the chaos, yes, but I also would.
That's understandable.
Just what would happen as the bloodline breaks him into little itty-bitty pieces.
That would be funny.
And like,
Roman's promos would be funny. "I lost to Austin Theory. Where were you?" Just blame the whole. I can see him just blaming the whole thing on Jay.
That'd be awesome.
No, that is delicious.
That's.
I still want it to be Sammy.
Well, we'll get to that here in just a minute. All right, whenever we get to that.
Mm-hmm.
So, no last words on NXT or AEW Dynamite. If not, we'll
all good on this front.
All right. So, which topic you guys want to address first? Which one's going to take longer? Top 10 tag teams?
Probably the tag teams.
I'm
So
surprised the top 10. I'm be honest. I'm gonna wing the first 5. I really am.
We're used to that.
We'll give our top 5, and then like our 10 through 5, and then we can have like a discussion of like 4 through 1 or however.
Okay.
Yeah.
For sure.
I think that works well. So who wants to go first with their number 10?
I guess I'll go first.
Yes.
All right.
Please
Kick
do.
it off, sir.
All right. Are we just aiming these individually, or are we all going 10 to 6?
Let's just. You
10
want
to
to all?
6.
We'll all do 10 to 6, and then.
Yeah.
Are we gonna go 10 around the horn and then 9 around the horn, or what?
Let's do 10 through 6 all in one, and then go from
All right.
there.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
Idea.
All right. So for my number 10 best tag team of all time, I have a bit of a sleeper. I'm sure the average wrestling fan might not, like, say the casual, might not be tuned in with this pick, but I'm sure a lot of you guys probably will. At number 10, I have the Motor City Machine Guns.
Yep.
Chris Sabin and Alex Shelley, 2 phenomenal wrestlers individually. One of my favorite tag teams growing up, and they put in work across Impact and Ring of Honor for the last 20 years.
This was a hard list for me, and they ended up at 15 of 16 is where I stopped, and they ended up at 15. And they could have been a little higher for sure. They could have been a little higher.
Not bad. For number 9, I have Bubby Ray Dudley and Devon.
That's a little lower than I thought they might be on some people.
At 9.
Yeah, at 9. You know, I know that. I mean, I had to have them in the top 10 because of, you know, everything that the TLC 6 did, you know, for tag wrestling in the Attitude Era. But just because I think a huge factor in that's not, you know, what I grew up in with wrestling. I just don't know a lot of them. I knew them as Team 3D before I knew them as the Dudley Boys.
Sure.
Freaking baby. Keep going.
All right. At number 8, I have what some people may argue are the greatest tag team in the history of Ring of Honor. I have Mark and Jay the Briscoes.
Uh-huh. You had them at 8?
Yes, sir.
I have them at 8 too. That's it. I have them at 8.
Nice.
And they were a little higher, but I moved them down as I kept going through my list.
For me, the Briscoes are a very solid tag team. You know, I feel like they would be higher personally on my list, just if they would have branched out more sooner. Because I feel like, you know, it is a blessing, you know, them being Ring of Honor originals and like the heartbeat of Ring of Honor, but in a way, I feel like it kind of hindered them from winning more championships, you know, around the world.
I think it goes to show you how good they really are that they make this list without ever being in major promotion. I mean, think if they had an AEW run or a WWE championship, they'd be a lot higher on this list. They'd have to be. So it's amazing that they are where they are without any.
Definitely. That's definitely a testament to their work ethic and them as a team. At number 7, I have the current undisputed WWE Tag Team Champions, Jimmy and Jay, the Usos.
Okay.
They didn't make my list at all. I don't know why. I guess I missed them. They didn't make my list at all.
I got to give them credit for all the work that they've done.
I know. In hindsight, that's a travesty. I see everybody's eyes are huge. In hindsight, that's a travesty. That's
I'm letting CM do it for the both of us. As soon as you said it, I knew that look was coming.
It's more one of those that slipped my head than it is that I don't think they belong. It's just one of those that I just didn't.
I believe you. I believe you. All right.
Number 6?
Number 6, I have The New Day.
Oh. Okay. All right.
Hats off to both of them and the Usos for carrying the WWE Tag Division for as long as they did.
So now, if we're using a trio, do we have to name? Are you actually talking about Woods and Kofi? Are you talking about Big E and Kofi? Are you talking about Woods and Big E? Does it matter?
I wasn't sure if it mattered, but I mean,
I don't know if it matters.
For anything, I mean, I know that they use the Freebird rule a lot.
The Freebird rule. Yes.
Yeah. But me personally, when I think of them as a tag team defending the belts, I think of Kofi and Big E, you know, in the ring, and Xavier doing his shtick with the trombone. But I mean, that's no knock on Xavier Woods because he's also a hell of a talent.
Yes, he is.
Yes, he is.
Well, that kind of segues into mine, so I'll go next.
All right.
All right, number 10, I have APA. They entertained me, and I was legit thinking that sometimes they might beat somebody up for fun.
Oh yeah.
They're always fun to watch.
They had gold segments.
No doubt.
For sure.
Then we have the Freebirds, because the Freebirds did give us the Freebird rule.
Yes.
As well as the fact that they were different for their time.
No doubt.
For sure.
Hair, apparently a muscular physique.
I love their stuff with I love all their stuff with the Von Eriks.
Yeah.
I cannot put down the Von Eriks because it hurts my heart every time I think about the tragedies of the
It hurts mine too, but yeah, I have to give them recognition since I'm a fellow Texan. In my list, the Freebirds were number 11 overall, and then I had the Von Eriks at 14.
They're probably the most famous tag team or stable out of the southern area of wrestling.
For sure.
Those southern territories, for sure. The Freebirds that's a good one.
That could be argued. Then I had New Day, because
that's 7 or 8.
10, 9, 8. That is 8 for me.
Okay.
Love the New Day overall. However, there were times where they got very stale for me, and I didn't want to watch them.
Understandable.
Going along kind of with the Freebird thing, I have the Rockers. And that for me was the first time that
something happened.
Yeah, what?
What that is. It seems like your audio was cutting out a bit.
Okay.
You're good now.
Okay.
Yeah.
The Rockers were the first big major team breakup that I saw. They had a storyline, it built, and I mean, you don't want to be Marty Jannetty.
That's a whole.
Coined the entire term for wrestling going forward.
Although the Marty Jannetty is typically the more talented member of the team.
Ain't nobody gonna do it in tag teams. Why are we doing this today? Dang.
I knew it was coming.
Marty was better.
I knew it was coming.
No,
Nope. I'm not doing. Okay.
Sean has even said Marty was better than him. He just did not have Sean's charisma. Let's see. 10, 9, 8, 7. Number 6 from me is going to be, I have so many people that I could choose from over here. I am going to go number 6 with Lucha Bros. Because
good pick.
Their rivalry in Lucha Underground then drew in more people into Lucha Libre, and then them teaming got people really interested in Lucha Libre and different styles of tagging. They are some of the most decorated tag teams ever.
Yeah.
To be honest, I still don't understand how using physics they can do.
Yeah, two of the best pure athletes in wrestling right now.
I don't understand how Phoenix just gravity.
I thought his name is Water. His name is Water because he's just so smooth with it. It really is.
Y'all know how Neville's nickname was the guy Gravity forgot or the man Gravity forgot?
Pac.
The whole team.
Yeah, for sure. Yes. Lucha Bros are great. They're going to be on my favorite tag team list whenever we do that.
Yep.
Overall on best of all time, I have them at number 13. It was really hard to not put them in the top 10.
Their rivalries for me solidified them as a spot on mine. So that is my number 6.
That Young Bucks cage match at All Out is one of my favorite matches of all time.
No build. We need a tag team match. You want to go? You want to go in the cage? All right.
Matt, Nick, we need you guys to have but we don't have a build. Yeah, but you guys need opponents for the pay-per-view. All right, give us Penn and Phoenix.
It will Penta. The answer is always Penta and Phoenix.
Penta's the shit.
Penta is the shit. I think if he was given the proper booking and the right push, he can
be the AEW World Champion.
No doubt.
Easily.
No doubt.
Easily. No doubt. I feel like he or Phoenix could be world champion. It's all just on It's on the dummy, so
Yep.
we'll
all
see.
on the dummy.
It's all on the dummy.
You know.
You want to go next, Anika? Or you want me to go?
I got enough names. We can do this.
Let's go.
Go ahead.
All right. So this was like all of you said. This was hard because you want to put your favorites in there, but you also want to appreciate history. So let's do it. All right. So number 10, they had to go. They had to come in here because my mom marked out, and I've never seen my mom marked out for anybody, like anybody. So at number 10, the Von Eriks. The Von Eriks. I have not seen I've heard of the history.
Beautiful.
I've heard of them versus the Freebirds, and I've heard of the legacy. But why they made my top 10 is TNA. Somewhere in 2014, I believe, the Von Eriks, their Generation .4 was wrestling a tag team match.
Oh yes, it was Kevin's sons, Ross and Marshall.
And then but one of the original Von Eriks was on the sidelines, so they won. It's a brawl. The dude comes in with no shoes on and
Kevin
does the claw.
Yeah.
My mother has never screamed loud for anything, and she lived through the Attitude Era. She did a whole.
That's amazing. I love that.
That's hysterical.
Record it. I'm like, what is happening here? So just for her. I'm like,
that's a good pick, though.
Seeing your parents mark out for anybody is classic, so they have to be top 10.
Yeah.
There's been a lot of. Go ahead.
Sorry, just quick shout out to Ross and Marshall for keeping the Von Erich legacy alive. They're doing amazing. And Lacey. Yeah, I do remember her when she was in TNA with the Beautiful People.
There's been a lot of tragedy in wrestling. I don't know that there's anything worse than the Von Erich story.
Yeah, but all the best to Ross and Marshall.
Oh yeah,
they got They got great heads on their shoulders, and I really hope to see them in a major promotion one day.
Yeah. They do good work in MLW. I like watching them in MLW.
Be that AEW, WWE, like wherever. I just want them to have a bigger platform because they're so good and they're keeping their family's legacy alive.
Yeah, no doubt.
All right, number 9. Because I know comments are coming, but I have to do it anyway. Before the man was by himself and became Uncle Booker T for something else. He was in a bad behind tag team. Yep. The tag team was the foundation for other tag teams to do great things.
Yep.
Come on, the Harlem Heat.
The Harlem Heat.
They were number 14 out of my 16.
I had them at 15. They
had the energy. They had the legacy. They called Hulk Hogan nigga.
We want the goals, nigga. Hogan, we coming for you. And then immediately regrets it. All time. Yes.
I gotta put him in top. Man, come on.
Yes.
But no, they did their thing, and they were so
And they were doing it for the culture before a lot of other black teams were.
And that's why I had to give it to them, because if they were not Harlem Heat, we would not have New Day, we wouldn't have Usos. So I had to give them their just due.
Wouldn't have the Street Profits.
Wouldn't have the Street Profits. Oh my gosh. Okay. See, this was so hard. All right. So that's number 8, right? All right.
9, I thought.
9. It was 9.
9? Dang.
Yeah.
Okay, here we go. Let's go. Let's do this. I had it in mind. Yes. Ooh, number 8. The Steiner Brothers.
Good pick.
So it might be a little biased, but I don't care. The Steiner Brothers. Yes. No. We call workhorse wrestling. I witnessed workhorse wrestling firsthand. My dad took me to a WCW show, 1998. We were all excited. It was a house show. We did not know the difference between house show and live show.
I remember that. Yeah.
And so the only people I didn't see NWO. I didn't see Ric Flair. I didn't see Sting. I didn't see Jericho. I did not see anybody. The people who came to the show were the Steiner Brothers and Booker T. and they tore the house down.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why I Braun Breaker changed his name when he gets to the main roster.
Rex Steiner.
Yep.
Please.
Like that writes itself right there.
Bronson Steiner, something.
And it's just like something you don't even need to be like. They don't even need to talk. It's just the energy.
Holler if you hear me.
Just hold your brother's head. Just hold your brother down. Just trying to restrain him because all the energy's coming out of you. Yes. So yeah.
I had them in number 11. They came in just right out of my top 10.
I respect that. All right, number 7. Dad. All right, here we go.
Yes.
Let's go. Number 7. Ooh. All right, yeah, I'll do that. The 7 I'll give to the Usos. The Usos, and that's because the people you're as good as the people you dance with, and the New Day will not be as good if it didn't have the Usos. Period. 2017, both of these teams were like, you know what, bump this. I don't know what's going on with top management, but we know tag team wrestling is this, and we're gonna prove it to y'all day in and day out. And Usos versus New Day, top tier. Like let's get rid of all. And 2017 and 2016. Like let's get rid of all the colors and actually put some flag on this stuff. And that's when they leveled up.
Yeah, that's when they stepped up for sure. Reinventing
Definitely
themselves.
Stepped up. Like in this day and age, I'm still holding out for Usos versus Young Bucks. It can happen.
I hope so. Like please.
It can still
like
Let's make this happen before I die.
I mean, we're closer now than maybe ever, but I'd be
For sure.
surprised if that happens. One of them is going to have to go to the other promotion probably to make that happen.
Because of see. Okay, if CM Punk does nothing for wrestling, his greatest legacy will probably get the Young Bucks and Omega to WWE. I think only just for 1 year.
Wait.
I don't see that happening.
The Bucks
at all.
were in a commercial.
That's all I need.
The Bucks were in an AEW commercial.
They're all coming back.
They are. I don't know about Punk, but the Elite are coming back.
I don't think Punk's coming back.
Yeah.
But Omega and the Bucks will be back.
Yeah.
I still have hope, though. All right, now we're at number 6 or number 5?
Number 6.
Number 6, thank God. Okay. I will do because it's against 2 teams, but for legacy purposes, I will switch it, and you'll know this by number 5. Number 6 will be New Day. And it's hard.
Yeah. It's where I had them too.
Scratch that. Forget that. Okay, nope. I'm putting both my teams in the top 5. Okay. Road Warriors. What a rush.
Number 6.
I'm gonna go for number 5. Yep. Just for legacy purposes, I will explain later. But they're yeah.
So that's number 6. You said was Road Warriors.
Number 6 is Road Warriors. They were a mood before we know what a mood was. Just like I said, that energy coming out you don't have to say anything. Just coming out, doing what you do. You can't teach that. You really can't. Either you have it or you don't. And they were one
of my favorite. When What a Rush hit, like it was. I mean, I always popped. I mean,
Road Warrior pop.
Like just goosebumps.
Always.
Like, go!
Yeah, and one of the more recognizable intros.
Mm-hmm. So that's my
okay.
6.
All right, so I'll go next. So let's see. Coming into number 10, well, you see him already talked about him. I got Shawn Michaels and Marty Jannetty, the Rockers. You have to. What can you say about them? They are what they are, right? They're one of the greatest tag teams of all time. Number 9. Hold on, where'd my list go here? It's out of order, so hold on. Oh, I got the. No one mentioned these. Maybe they're in your guys' list higher. Maybe they didn't make your list at all. But coming into number 9, I got Jim the Anvil Neidhart and Bret the Hitman Hart, the Hart Foundation. They are what they are. They're one of the, in my opinion, again, they're still one of the greatest tag teams. I think it's undeniable what they did over, from 85 to 91. They were definitely the most dominant tag team in WWE. I think there's no question about that, and probably on the planet, since WWE was really the only thing going on at that time. Let's see, number 8. I think I already said that. I got the Briscoes. Me and the Negro Beck had the Briscoes at the same spot, number 8. So same
boys.
thing, right? Like I said before, I think the fact that they even make this list without ever being in what I would call a major promotion tells you all you need to know about them. Number 7, I got the New Age Outlaws. Y'all better call somebody.
Oh, you didn't know? That's a good pick.
Oh, you didn't know?
They're definitely in my top 20 somewhere. I just don't know exactly where, but
they're both as one of my favorites, and they're probably higher on my favorites list, but they're also there on an all-time.
Understandable.
I think you just can't deny how good they are.
Yeah, they were great.
That's why I cursed my first time as a kid. You're not knowing what you're saying. You're just saying, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages. Wait, Stacy, what? That's his name, the badass Billy Gunn.
They weren't down with the whole suck it either, I'm sure. Like, that went over well, right?
That's funny.
It rolled off the tongue. It
rolled off.
Look,
it was
Billy, so that was a little awkward for me because I was like, wait, he's Rockabilly. Where?
Yeah. That's one of the most memorable intros too. I mean, that's
for sure.
And then coming in at number 6, I don't know. I assume you guys probably have these guys higher on your list somewhere because I can't imagine they didn't make your top 10 list somewhere. But coming in at number 6, I've got Edge and Christian. So
I have them at 15.
Oh wow, really?
I love Edge and Christian, but
wow, interesting.
Yeah.
So look from CM and Anika, it looks like they might have them higher on their list.
I'm a Hardy's guy. What can I say? Stay tuned.
So that's my 10 through 6. I think, we could talk about Edge and Christian, but I think we all know, like everyone knows, right?
They're a great tag team, and I love them. But me personally too, probably I just loved hating Edge by himself. Because when I was growing up, really watching wrestling, I despised Edge.
Well, they were such a great heel team, right? Like I think you're supposed to still.
They were, but I didn't know that. I didn't know that when I started, because when I started watching wrestling, Edge was the biggest piece of shit in WWE, and Christian was the instant classic in TNA. I didn't find out they were a tag team until like I was older.
Christian has always been better than Edge.
I mean, I agree with that, but
Christian had the face that you wanted to punch.
That's a conversation for another video.
He was also really, really good in the ring. It took Edge. It took basically Christian leaving Edge for Edge to become really, really good in the ring.
Yeah. I mean, he was forced to, but they always wanted him to be the top guy. I mean, Vince.
That's because he's prettier than Christian.
Yeah, I mean, Vince wanted to cover Christian's face with a blue dot.
And I would have been very angry because I love how Christian looks.
Right? It's a decent looking face.
He looked like a freaking vampire. I fully believe he was a vampire because he looked like he could be one.
He looks like shit now.
I mean,
damn! I would
come in here as a Bruce and not believe that, and not make us believe that you're not a vampire.
That part.
What is Edge? 49?
I will say
just about.
I'm 46, and he looks at least 10 to 15 years older than I do.
Christian is aging very well.
Much better than Edge.
Much
better than Edge. Edge is not aging well at all.
Christian looks like, he could be in his late 30s.
Yeah, for sure.
Now, granted, Edge had to go through surgery, y'all. We don't know sure how much blood loss can go through your face. You lose blood in your face and then you get wrinkles.
When you're not you age gracefully. That's why Phil looks the way he does.
Enough said. Moving on.
So, Nick Jackson, you ready for your top 5?
Are we gonna do 5 through 1 again, like we just did 10 through 6? Or are we gonna do 5 and go around the horn and then 4?
I think we should do 5 through 1 and then try to pick our top 5.
Okay.
All
right, can do. All right, at number 5, I have a team that AEW previously said. I have the Hart Foundation.
Okay. Yeah.
Just because what else can you say with their work rate?
So I wrote all these names down and then started to attribute numbers to them, and they gradually moved up and down as I started to give other people numbers.
Yeah.
they could have easily been in 5 for sure.
That's what I did. Yeah, they would be a little lower on favorites, just because of the era I grew up in, but I can't deny everything they did while they were active. Anvil was a good character, solid worker. Brett spent those years, honing his skills, proving that he could be, a main eventer. And I mean, when you talk about, great moves and tag team finishers, they kind of all, the Road Warriors, of course, with the Doomsday device, but you can't knock the heart attack.
You have to keep saying when I was growing up, do you have to do that?
I'm just
right.
You just enjoy making us
baby.
Enjoy making us all feel old.
You, bro.
I'll keep my 4 brief then. Number 4 is the Hardy Boys, Matt and Jeff.
No, you can go.
I love them. They're really good.
Go on about Jeffrey. We love Jeffrey.
Yep. I assume they're probably in everybody's list somewhere.
Yeah, when you talk about, the TLC 3, the TLC 6, the Hardys, the Dudleys, Edge and Christian. I might be biased, but I feel like, in a sense, Matt and Jeff carried a lot of those matches. Just everything they did. They came in as heels, they came in as the new brew with Gangrel, and the fans just wouldn't boo them because of their offense and the risk that they took in the ring. That first tag team ladder match against Edge and Christian in No Mercy 99, that helped set the groundwork for all the TLC stuff and just everything that they've done outside of WWE too. And just the titles they've won, WWE Tag Team Champions. They've been WCW Tag Team Champions. I still have that box set. I still have that set.
Yeah.
And just they won titles in Mexico. They've won, the TNA tag titles, Ring of Honor. The only thing that they didn't really, the only major title that they didn't really win was the IWGP, heavyweight tag titles. But they're still one of the most decorated tag teams nonetheless.
And if you want to talk about the Dudley Boys and Edge and Christian and the Hardy Boys, I think it's easy to say that Jeff Hardy out of those 6 is the most talented wrestler.
For sure.
Yeah.
And he had the best connection with, the fans. People just gravitated towards him, he was he's still one of my favorites, but he was my first favorite wrestler. Yeah. He was the first guy I saw, and I was like, I love this guy. And when I was like, I want to be a wrestler, I'm like, that was the style I wanted to do. I was like, and there's just something too, just a lot of the people that I know that, watched wrestling around the same time I did, everybody, just was like a Jeff Hardy guy.
Yeah, Matt is polarizing. Like either you love him or you hate him. Everybody loves Jeff Hardy.
Yes.
I don't know anybody that doesn't like Jeff Hardy. I've never met a wrestling fan that doesn't like Jeff Hardy.
That part.
Right.
And yeah, like you say, Matt is polarizing, but I can't deny when that man makes gold, he makes gold with that broken gimmick and the way that they reinvented themselves with the broken Hardys in TNA. I loved it
I loved it too.
Yes, when broken Matt Hardy.
Your brother can't carry you anymore.
Brother Nero. Obsolete.
So that was 4. So we're at 3?
Yes.
So
3.
Top 3. Coming in 3.
I'm not sure if this pick is on any of your guys' list. I hope it is. They are, in the time that they've been together, they're a more current tag team, but in the time they've been together, they've done nothing short of solidify themselves to be in the conversation of that best in the world
FTR,
title.
Aren't you?
Yes. The top guys, 7-star FTR at number 3.
Wow.
Cash Money Wheeler.
Yeah.
And
I can't
a
lie.
guy who I say still is in the running for Superstar of the Year, for Wrestler of the Year. I'm not saying he's my pick, but he's at least in the running. Dax the X Harwood.
Yeah. I'll be honest, they didn't even make my list.
Wow.
I know.
Thought they'd at least be a number 5 for you, man. But it's fine. I understand. But how can you not?
I don't know.
These guys.
No, I don't know. It's tough.
From the time they were the Revival, and I used to listen to Edge and Christian's podcast when they had it on the WWE Network, the podcast of awesomeness. And Edge talked about how he loved Dash and Dawson in NXT. This was when I was just starting to watch NXT. I'm like, oh, okay. Edge knows what he's talking about. If he says these guys are good, then they must be. And then you watch them with these matches they had with American Alpha and DIY and Fish and O'Reilly, and you knew how good they were, even with all the crap they had on the main roster.
Yeah.
And then just once they were set free and got to spread their wings, just bangers with everyone. Lucha Bros, Young Bucks, like the Briscoes. They had 2 match of the year contenders against the same team.
Yeah.
Out of every match that I wish I could have seen, it's like, come on, you own ROH. Can you at least show some highlights of this match? Why is it not on Dynamite? Come on.
All I know is I really do hope that this supposed streaming deal is close, because I just want to go back and have a place to watch all these old ROH matches. And yeah, I'm definitely going to go back and watch that one. And, I still feel like they're firmly up there. And, they've said it themselves that they're in the twilight of their careers, but I feel like they still have a few decent years ahead of them. And, with everything they've done so far, who knows? They could firmly establish themselves when they're ready to hang it up as the greatest of all time.
No, they does got a couple more years going for them.
For sure.
All right, number 2?
Number 2, I have 2 men who showed very early on, when people didn't know that tag team wrestling was viable and a commodity that it could be. They were on your list, Annika, obviously. Hawk and Animal, the Road Warriors.
Yeah.
They have an entire pop named after them.
Mm-hmm.
The Road Warrior pop.
Yep.
As soon as you heard that, what a rush. And they were doing tag team wrestling, everywhere. And with everything they did in WWE, their stuff in Japan. What else is there to say about the Road Warriors? Without them, tag team wrestling as a whole would look a lot different today.
Most definitely.
100%.
Yeah, and also just, thank you for your contributions, Road Warriors. Rest in peace, Hawk. Rest in peace, Animal.
Yep. Mm-hmm. All right, and your number 1 all-time tag team? Greatest tag team of all time?
At number one, Matt and Nick Jackson, the Young Bucks. Growing up and seeing these guys starting at the bottom of the barrel in TNA as Max and Jeremy, legit wearing circa 1999 Hardy Boys pants. And just doing absolutely nothing. I saw them competing the first time. This is before they had the Hardy Boy pants, when they had the black skinny jeans and they had bandanas hanging out of their back pockets, when they had their first match against the Motor City Machine Guns. And I was like, okay, these guys are something. There's something to look out for. They get released from TNA. I'm still not tuned into Ring of Honor at this point. And then also I see one day AJ Styles as the IWGP World Champion with these 2 guys. Generation Me? No, they're the Young Bucks, and they're putting on all these matches, all these classic banger matches in Japan, in Ring of Honor, in PWG. At that point in time, I was getting out of wrestling. The product was boring to me. It didn't satisfy me. I didn't see a lot of guys that I connected with. A lot of the guys that I liked weren't wrestling full time anymore, or they were just having problems. That's the time where Jeff was real up and down. Punk wasn't around anymore, even because that's back when I was a huge Punk guy. And then seeing those guys with AJ Styles, because AJ Styles was always my guy when he was in TNA. So seeing them open the door to New Japan and Ring of Honor and all of this great stuff in independent wrestling that was going on from 2013 to 2017, 2018. And everywhere I looked, the Young Bucks were at the forefront of that. PWG Tag Team Champions, Ring of Honor.
Before AEW.
Yes.
Before AEW formed, yes. They were arguably the best tag team in the world.
And they've done nothing but... I'm stumbling over my words a little bit, but for sure, to that point, they were getting talked about as one of the best tag teams in the world. And it was literally part of their notoriety that they had never been under contract with WWE. Sure, Matt appeared as an extra in a squash match against Big Show, but they were never WWE contracted talent. And they've achieved all these accolades, and they haven't even been, they've never been WWE Tag Team Champions, but they've won belts in AEW, Ring of Honor, PWG, New Japan. They've won. I'm not sure how many teams have done this, but I mean, they were IWGP Junior Heavyweight Tag Team Champions, and then they moved up and they won the World Heavyweight Tag titles. And just seeing their grind, struggling in TNA, making a living, and showing that you can make a huge living and a decent living off of independent wrestling, working for all these different companies that aren't necessarily the big leagues, and and just being marketing geniuses with their merch, with their show that they use to help get their friends over, help get angles over, and then starting this company with Tony Khan, to me it's unheard of. And to me, like, they're the best tag team in the world and one of the greatest of all time. And FTR is creeping up. And when my opinion, they've passed the Young Bucks, trust me, y'all will be the first to know. But currently, Matt and Nick Jackson, the Young Bucks, are, in my opinion, the best tag team of all time.
That's not a bad pick. They're the only tag team of recent years that are in my top 5. So,
right?
I love it. I truly love it.
What's this?
Well,
do you want to comment on the Negro Bucks top 5?
Or just the number 1?
Their number 1 spot?
No, I fully understand. But let me dive into mine real quick.
All right.
Let's
Number
go.
5 for me is the Hart Foundation.
Number 5 is the Hart Foundation?
Not just Brett and Jim. Oh no, let's bring in British Bulldog. Bring in Only.
A win.
Come on, then. It's a Freebird rule.
Yeah.
It's a Freebird
rule. Y'all thought I wasn't gonna come back to that. But yes, the Hart Foundation. They laid a firm foundation for a more modern day grappling Freebird rule, which I really liked and I really appreciated. As I was watching it when I was younger with my dad. The only women that I chose for my list were Bayley and Sasha Banks.
Wow.
And that is because they made that women's tag team title division matter. They carried the company during the pandemic, and they have consistently put on great programs together versus each other, that like all the way around. I feel like as a tag team, you should be able to break up, come back together. You've battled each other, you've done all the other things, and there's still enough story to tell that you can come back as a tag team. I feel like if Mercedes wants to come back to wrestling, having her be a tag team partner to Bayley could be something that is explosive, and it could be something that could really revolutionize women's tag team wrestling again.
Story writes itself.
And you put Bianca in that mix? That's a whole 6-month program.
I tried thinking about women's tag teams, and Bayley and Sasha were the only names that came to mind.
And even then, like, they've been a tag team, but I don't think of them as a tag team. Like, I think of them as 2 separate wrestlers that were a tag team for a while. Like,
but for me, that is why I consider them as a tag team, because in your great rivalries, a lot of times they do end up tagging. Sure. And at certain points, it's like, oh, they don't really work well together. Let's keep them separate. You could put them together. You could put them apart. You could put them on the same roster, one on NXT. You could put one modeling and the other in WWE, and they still are going to be explosive.
No, I mean, if there's any female tag team that deserves to be in a top 5, it's Bayley and Sasha.
For sure.
Probably the closest one is the Kabuki Warriors, and that really was 2020. That was the best part of 2020. The Kabuki Warriors versus Sasha and Bayley.
For sure.
Watch that the whole time.
My number 3
Yep.
goes to. Oh, this is hard. Number 3 goes to Motor City Machine Guns.
Wow.
That is because by this
I love
much,
it. I love it.
in my top 3, like this much. If I could have a top 1 A, B, C, I would. They put on electrifying matches. They are dynamic wherever they are at. They literally got cheered for coming out on stage and doing nothing but their.
Yes.
Yeah.
Mm.
They're on my list. They're just not that high, but they're on my list.
Yeah, I'm glad that they were higher on someone else's list, though. I just wanted to make sure that I included them because of how much I love them and how great they are.
I don't think you can argue it. I mean,
at all.
My number 2 is going to be I love Jeffrey Nero Hardy, and they're going to be number 2 on my list because my number 1 edges them out just a little bit. I love how they have reinvented themselves consistently. I love this growth. I hope and wish all the best for him in a safe environment. Matt Hardy can be replaced.
Jesus Christ.
I don't like him. I don't like his wife. I was fully hoping that the former Awesome Kong, Kaya Stevens, was going to beat the holy shit out of Ruby. I fully was prepared to donate to the bail fund if that happened. I'm joking, but I had my bail fund set up to get her bail fund. I cannot stand her. I want to pop one of her lips, and I think that Matt Hardy is disgusting for enabling his wife to feel comfortable enough to discuss his brother and his brother's life. So yeah,
that will happen to me.
Number 1 for me.
I gotta hear this. I'm not sure. Is who?
The Young Bucks. And
wow.
That is, not only have they done all these wonderful things in wrestling, but using Colt Cabana's model, they have revolutionized the art of being an independent wrestler. From BTE showing the life of what it's like to be on the road, how hard it can be on your family and on yourself, bringing in their friends, opening up different streams of revenue, from being complete and total assholes as heels, but we still love them for some reason. Just all that they have done, like the building of All Elite Wrestling. I know they said it now, but trying to get Phil in on the ground floor of All Elite Wrestling. Just every single thing that they have done. I don't necessarily agree with their politics, but they don't wave it in my face and they don't support insurrectionist Jericho. But I fully appreciate Matt and Nick Jackson, the white one, for all the contributions they have.
Oh, fuck me, okay.
You don't appreciate you at all.
When you wrestle on BTE and almost beat your big brother, we can talk.
But I'm the oldest brother. I can't beat my little brother's ass because then my mom's gonna kill me.
I mean, do it in secret.
And let me just put this out there too. My last name is actually Jackson. Their legal last name.
He's real Nick Jackson.
Yes.
But who is more famous?
That's
the Negro Buck.
Yeah, in my dreams maybe.
Would there be the Negro Buck if there weren't the Young Bucks?
Yes.
There wouldn't be a Negro Buck if I never met SP3. So
This is also true, but I feel like all of mine have kind of built to the Young Bucks because they have taken little bits and pieces from the different teams that have been on my list, with the exception, I can't even say with the exception of Sasha and Bailey, but they have taken bits and pieces and built a successful career that they can now start to transition out of when they are ready and still have a lasting impact on wrestling.
For sure.
No doubt. You want to go, Anika? Or you want me to go?
Yeah, I'll go. I'll go.
All right,
You'll
go ahead.
finish it off. Um, so my top five. It's hard because you have your favorites, but we're saying greatest of all time. So that means legacy. That means you're having a lasting impact. 10 years, 20 years ago, 20 years from now, they're going to be. Someone's going to say you're my favorite wrestler. You made me become as great as I am. So y'all saw me struggling with the top six, but here we go. So number five, I have to go with New Day. I had to go with New Day. They have the legacy. They have the legacy to go on 20 years. Yes.
Yeah.
Pancakes for everybody and
I
booty.
mean, like
They've made that company a lot of money in merch sales.
Booty-O's.
I almost bought
That's
booty.
an actual product on WWE.com.
Yes.
And
Booty-O's.
actually in FYE stores because
They make sure you ain't booty.
But it's and then you look at we call it the beginning of that, where Vince has this whole image of what they should look like, and Xavier Woods is like, nah, this is not working. Give me three. He said literally, give me 3 weeks for us to turn heel. But I'm turning. If he said if I don't turn us heel in 3 weeks, fire me. Boom. They're in week 2, they get a little bit booed. Week 3, people are booing Kofi, and they're like,
Yeah.
all right. Now look, with some gas now. I remember Brooklyn, SummerSlam. They won their first titles as the New Day, and that was hilarious. The celebration was hilarious. Their fights with Usos and the fight with the Usos. I'm just gonna go back to that because, like I said, 2016, 2017. If that didn't happen, we was gonna go somewhere else that was not gonna be good. It was,
Yeah.
like you're only as good as your rivalries, and for you to have that story to chew on, you can go and like they've gone toward it too much, but if they would have paced it out, you can still go back to it and it's still bomb. And then like last but not least, legacy. They got like the first ever African American WWE champion. Like,
Yeah.
I don't think like you don't think about that stuff until it happens, right? Like with Kofi, shot out of the dark. Ali gets hurt, and out of the 3 of them, they're like, "Baby boy, you can do this. We're gonna give this to you, right?" And then doing that whole thing, and then him. I'm getting a little emotional. I didn't think I was gonna get emotional because, like that really should have been the main event of WrestleMania. It really should have been, because like you said, you don't really think it's gonna happen, and it happens. And then now with that, Bobby Lashley is WWE champion, which you never thought was gonna happen. And then after that, Big E has his shot at the title, which was bomb. Even though the run was bad, the moments were great. And so to have that moment, you gotta put them in the top 5 for me. So that's why their legacy.
Yeah, and as of right now, the New Day is still the longest reigning WWE Tag Team Champions.
Ooh, and
the Usos are creeping up on them, but I mean, they still have that crown for now.
I don't know if I want them to break it or not. And
I'm on the fence about it. I don't know. It could go either way. If anybody's gonna break it, I would prefer it to be the Usos.
Yeah.
So here's my issue with the New Day and with the Usos, and it's no disrespect to either of them. I think it has to do with when they're their current time in WWE. I know they've been doing it for a long time, but they've been doing it at a time where the tag team division is really non-existent.
It's
Like
been stagnant. Yeah.
they haven't had a whole lot of competition or many really good teams to face
Yeah.
for a long,
For
long
sure.
time.
Besides
So
each
I have
other.
a hard time. I mean, I had a hard time. Yes, I didn't think about the Usos even when I made this list. I think that might be part of it. I mean, the New Day I thought about, but then I thought they've been there. They just haven't. They don't have the resume for me because there hasn't been enough going on in WWE.
No, they're a victim of their own booking. I totally agree. Like when I was more so pissed when they're like Vince McMahon was booking because he was forgetting the matches he had a month ago. I'm like, what?
Yeah.
So it's nothing.
Rematches every week.
Yeah. You forgot. You literally forgot that people fought before. That's why we keep saying. That's why we keep seeing the same matches. No, I totally agree. Like they could have gone, like them versus the Bludgeon Brothers. That should have been a better banger than it should have been.
Yes.
We're not gonna go there. We're not gonna go there. The past is the past. Remember, like Uso
Harper and
versus
Rowan,
Miz.
another good tag team.
Yeah.
FTR was there, and that the story was right. We're not gonna go here.
Yeah.
There we go.
Let's just be glad Vince is gone.
Top 10 missed opportunities in wrestling. Period. We could.
Good list.
That's the list.
Top WWE missed opportunities under Vince McMahon's era.
Woo! See,
That's a good list.
so remember that. But no, I totally agree that the resume hasn't been with several other tag teams, but the matches that they had were actually pretty good. Like them versus the Bar. Like I'm sorry, the Bar were not anybody good until they went against New Day, and it's like
I loved the Bar.
Right, like that too.
I missed the Bar. But you're right.
Okay, so that's number 5. Number 4, it gotta be the Dudley Boys.
Yeah.
It gotta be the Dudley Boys.
Was that?
Like it's like again, like they I think the closest we got to Road Warrior energy was the Dudley Boys for me. It's like the whole they come out, you hear the music, all right.
Yeah.
Somebody's gonna
the fireworks
to a table.
Yeah.
They were somebody's getting put to a table,
down.
and it's gonna be awesome. And no offense, that they have the best tag team move. They have the best. It's like
Oh yeah.
the
Now the
cutter
3D is my favorite tag team finisher.
Just throw them in the ropes, bam, and it's over.
Yep.
It really is the best tag team move in my book.
Nothing's better than someone getting put through a table with a 3D.
You gonna talk about that Mae Young incident with Bubba?
with Bubbier? Oh man.
He took care of her.
I prefer not.
He had her back. He had her back.
He had her back and made it look like he was.
That was the best part. When they first came in, he was just that whole busting
right?
He was Sean Spears before Sean Spears.
Right. He was Sean Spears.
Oh man.
That's hysterical.
Except instead of hitting people with chairs, he was putting women through tables.
Putting chicks through tables.
That's hilarious.
Like that's one of the best.
Yo, that's still one of the biggest pops I've ever seen at any type of TNA or Impact show was when he put Dixie Carter through that table. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, people were happy to see that.
Yes.
Dixie had a lot of go away heat at that time. Real go away heat.
And I was still watching at that time, and the only reason I was watching I was barely even watching WWE at that time. I was only watching TNA because of AJ, and then AJ left, and I was watching kind of just because the Hardys were there. But that was just Dixie. Oh, I remember the Dixieland match.
Enough said, Dixie.
Yes.
Oh.
All right, number 3, Mr. Nika.
Number 3. So I'm gonna go with that. I'm sorry. The TLC match was the TLC match. I'm low key pissed because everybody was almost. We could have had a 3. Everybody was healthy, man. Everybody was healthy, but it's fine. So because that was so revolutionary, I had to give it to Edge and Christian. I had to give it to Edge and Christian. Do you know how much work? Because like they had to put in the work. You're going against the Dudley Boys, or you're going against Matt Hardy. Probably the most over teams in attitude in any era history. So they're like, you know what? No, we're not going to be the third string. We're not going to be the forgotten.
We're not going to be the warm up
on the sideline.
opening act.
We're going to bring something to the rivalry, and they did. And then we got to go back to the Brood. The Brood, that like, I'm sorry, that entrance was a banger.
One of the best entrances ever. One of the best themes.
Best entrances ever. Are you doing?
Shout out to Jim Johnston for making banger music.
You know, you just rolling out from the fire, and it's just a PT. And it's just like you just walking down the ramp. I'm just like, wait, y'all demons. I ain't supposed to be rocking to this like this.
You can't help but do it.
Yeah, it's like a conscious thing. You hear it and you're just like, it's one of those songs.
And so, no. And then like, yeah, like they did their part of the TLC match, and then going on to divide and conquer. I mean, like you didn't think when Christian went to AEW, he would be doing his best work.
I'm so glad
low key, just a little bit. And then Edge is actually doing pretty decent work.
Classic.
Matches off in 2 minutes.
And still the moment of Edge's return, because I remember people were reporting that too, and I was still to this day, because the Royal Rumble was in Houston at that year, and I regret not going just because of that. Oh. But like I remember, I'll never forget watching it though, because I was like, people were like, he's coming back, he's been cleared. I'll believe it when I see it.
And then he was so hyped that he didn't even wait till the "you think you know me?" Like, you think I'm coming out. I'm like, wait. So no, yeah.
Tears in my eyes.
All right, so number 2.
Yeah, feel for him.
Top 2.
I'm with my sis on this. It's close. It's so freaking close. But am I gonna pull the trigger? I'm gonna flip it. I'm gonna flip it because I haven't seen enough of their stuff. So I'm going to say number 2, the Young Bucks.
Fair.
I'm going to say 2, the Young Bucks, because like I didn't see the Ring of Honor stuff. I didn't see the New Japan stuff. I just heard of great things. But I will say this, going back to the TLC matches, for you to be a new team and they need that third person in TNA. Well, we can't use TLC, so we're gonna do Full Metal
Mayhem.
But for y'all to come in and relatively, like, you really don't have any heat on you, but you're gonna go in with Ed, you're gonna go in with the Hardy Boys and Dudley, and you really are like, there is no shoehorning you in. You actually fit very well, and y'all killed those matches. I'm like, okay.
Mm-hmm.
They weren't Young Bucks, but I'm like, I see y'all. I see y'all. Y'all good. I see it. And then like y'all said, like I said, legacy. No, like after TNA, I think everybody done forgot. Everybody done gave up on building a new promotion against WWE. It's like, all right, Vince is in charge. We ain't gonna do nothing. It's either Vince or Indies. We gonna stop trying. Like they're like, no, we're not gonna stop trying.
Yeah.
There is room for what we do, and there is a platform, and then we can make money off of this. And for them to take that chance, that leap, and more people are getting jobs because of that. That's legacy. That's the stuff you dream about when you leave your kids. Like when they die, their kids really don't have to work. I don't see them kids working.
No, those kids are set for life.
All right, Tony Khan, we're 21. We take over. Our dad's taught us everything. We got this under control. And then like, it really was them loving wrestling. Like, I think I saw a clip of them and Adam Cole. Like, it was, I don't even know what the match was, but they're like, All right, today, what do y'all want to do? I feel like let's copy Randy Orton and let's just do RKO.
Yes, it was in
on
PWG,
each other,
and they had an
just
RKO
randomly
party.
for no good reason.
Yeah,
It's like, what are y'all doing right
because
now?
that was in the time when Orton was shitting on independent wrestlers for all their dives.
It's just like, oh, you gonna do that? Okay, cutter. Cutter. Oh,
Ace
I'm sorry.
Crusher.
That's
Cutter. Ace Crusher.
that's what
Nobody.
Adam Cole wants to like to do the whole.
Nobody expects
And
Randy
then-
Orton
and
for
then
having no
go into it.
charisma. So
I mean, I've said several times that he's boring.
that's why his nickname is Plan B Borton.
Oh, not just Randy Borden.
No, Plandy. He likes
Oh,
to say the
Blandy.
N-word.
Blandy. Okay.
No, Plandy with a K.
Yeah.
Oh,
Clandy.
Yeah. He likes
All
to use the
right.
N-word.
Clandy.
Holy wow. All right.
He like to use the N-word, you know. His name gets mixed
Oh,
up.
on
Yeah.
Twitch. Yeah.
I'm watching AJ Styles. You never did apologize for that.
Did anyone really think that Randy was gonna go to
Styles.
AEW?
No.
Did anyone really thought that was gonna happen? I did not think that was going. Like anyone could see a mile away. That was.
He was just trying to see if Vince called his bluff.
Like,
I wanted him to
go
go.
to AEW.
I wanted him to go just so MJF could read the hell out of him.
That would have been
No other
funny.
reason. No other reason. I wanted him to go just so MJF could read him.
Nah, he would. You know damn well he would mention him shitting in that girl's suitcase.
He probably hand him a thing and be like, "Here you go. There's no shit in it. If you get in there,
Yeah.
we can take the shit and the garbage out all at one time."
Yeah. But Annika, you were talking about the Young Bucks being your number 2, and I just want to say to you, like, another testament to just how great they are, and I guess how other people within the industry have recognized that. Like, a lot of people don't realize before Tony Khan got on the phone with them and they started AEW, they don't realize how close the Bucks were to going to WWE. Like,
And-
they had a 7-figure like deal worked out, and they had a 6-month opt-out clause where if they didn't like if they didn't like what their booking was for the first 6 months of their deal, they could opt out and just be released immediately. And
And they did give us the
never
first
seen that.
currently only AEW versus WWE thing when they had that video game.
Oh, with the New Day, yes. Yeah.
So, but I'm curious now, who is your number 1?
Like I said, like you and
I think
really
I know.
disagree
It's
with
the Hardy
stuff.
Boys.
We don't really disagree with stuff, except when you come at my boo for no good reason.
Oh.
But yeah, so I had to flip
You
it
mean
because we're gonna do this right now. I'm being nice. Number 1, the Hardy Boys. They gotta be it's the Hardys. It's the Hardys for me. It's the vibe for me. Like I said, like
is it the Hardys or is it the Jeff?
Hardys.
It's the Hardys. It's the Hardys. But Jeff is the body, Matt is the brains. I'll say that.
Yes.
Like combined.
CM don't like that.
I know.
Combined.
Come on now, son.
All eating it, and I like it. Yes.
Did you just say Fat Hardy was the brains?
She
Call
said
him Fat Hardy.
I haven't heard him
They
call
called him Fat Hardy for so long, and
I haven't heard anyone call him that for years, man.
I called him that last week.
Someone has to reel Jeff in. When Jeff
It
wants
ain't Matt.
when Jeff says, "Hey,
Yeah, well, not
I
anymore.
can hop 5 ladders,"
It ain't Matt.
and we gotta reel you in. Just a
It
little
ain't
bit.
Matt.
I mean, he reeled him in for that, to his credit, but he ain't reel him in when it's like you need to stop drinking and driving
Hold
and
up.
take a fucking Uber.
Hush.
Take an Uber, dude.
You. If he was really in his brother, he would have made sure Tony Khan canceled that tag team match instead of my brother. Obviously, is not mentally ill. We still gonna wrestle in this match. Or
Dummy's a grown man.
how
He
can
should
I
have
get
known.
my brother out of his?
It's like that's what happens when you got 4 kids and the check don't clear. So I was like,
And the
it's like, look,
Well, put some kids and your busted wife to work.
Hey, just a little bit.
Your kids and your busted
I
wife
got
to
4
work.
kids.
Holy
They're
shit.
like, yes, my brother needs me, but I got 4 kids now. I'm gonna need you to.
And there's OnlyFans, and Reedy would be perfect for that.
I'm surprised she doesn't have one already, honestly.
Can't shut up long enough to stop.
Some people got limits, but no. Back to the Hardys. No, I was there, Orlando, 2017, and I had a feeling they were going to be there because they weren't on TNA anymore, and it was a very abrupt ending. And so it was like you hope for it, but
I remember reading those reports.
Like I didn't hear any reports, but I just like it was just a feeling. And then I was in the concession stand because my niece wanted some freaking food, and it's like I need someone else to take this kid to get something to eat. I really do, but it's fine. So
I remember you saying that in the chat.
But it's like I hear New Day, and it's like you're not the only two. You're not the only 2 teams.
It's a fatal 4-way. Yeah.
I hear the music. It takes me 5 seconds. I snatched my niece up out that. I was like,
I can't blame you.
What's going on? This right.
I was sitting on the edge of my seat.
It was like the whole thing. Like I knew it. Oh my god, this is the best WrestleMania ever. Boom, Taker versus Roman and that crap. This is the best.
That saved.
Best WrestleMania
best part of that whole show. And I remember because they were reporting about it for like months whenever things went sour between them and Impact. And I was just like, I'll believe it when I see it, because before they went there, they stopped in Ring of Honor for a small program with the Bucks. And they won the titles from the Bucks in like an open challenge. And then the day before WrestleMania, they went against the Bucks in a ladder war at All-Star Extravaganza. And they had like a block party like before WrestleMania, and then they like took a car straight to the arena. Because the thing with it was, sorry, just real quick, this is a little tangent.
No,
whenever they popped into Ring of Honor for that thing with the Bucks, it was originally supposed to be like a cross promotion thing with Impact. Like before their deal, before Anthem took over and was like, oh, they think they're worth more than this amount of money. And he's like, let them go to WWE then. Originally, it was supposed to be a talent exchange because they're already supposed to have the match at Supercard of Honor. That was what's going to start it. The Bucks were the ROH tag champs. The Matt and Jeff were the Impact tag champs. And it was going to happen to where they were supposed to have the match at Supercard of Honor, and they were going to beat the Bucks for the ROH tag titles. And then the Bucks were going to show up in Impact and eventually beat them for the Impact tag titles. And that was going to...
Me would be back?
Yeah, that was supposed to happen originally before things went sour with them in Impact. And they were going to have a big ladder match at a Ring of Honor show, a ladder war for both belts. And it was going to end basically with one of the Bucks unclipping the ROH tag titles and one of the Hardys unclipping the Impact tag titles. And, they'd be back to normal, but they would have already done this program to, help each other out and give each other more exposure. So, I mean, Impact, that'd be another good list for us, is missed opportunities for Impact Wrestling.
It's like, get out of your own way sometimes, man. Like, what? Like, really,
yeah.
What if? There are too many what ifs in wrestling, period.
That new regime took over an Impact back then, and they shot themselves in the foot, because at that point in time, the only big things that people liked about Impact at that time was the Broken Hardy stuff and EC3. Those were the people that were carrying Impact on their back. Because that was after Kurt Angle had stopped wrestling there. So AJ was gone, Kurt was gone, Sting is gone, and he's older. Even though in retrospect, Sting probably could have kept going in TNA.
5 more years, yeah.
Right? But yeah, it's crazy just the things that really could have happened if people would have just put their egos aside.
Egos, man, probably before the freaking fall.
That fool really said, "Let them go to WWE then," and they said, "Bet." And they had one of the greatest returns of all time.
One of the greatest returns of all time, and so yeah, the Hardys is the mood for me. The vibe before we knew what a vibe was, so they had to be number one. That is number one.
Can't complain.
Love it.
So I'm going to shoot through mine because they've all been said pretty much
Mm-hmm.
except for one. I got one team that hasn't been mentioned. At number 5, I got the Road Warriors. Everything's been said about them. We know where they go.
What a rush.
Here's the only spot that I have on my list that nobody else seemed to have, and they come in at number 4. I got the 4 Horsemen. And it doesn't matter how you put them in as a tag team, whether it's Arn and Ole or whether it's, Ric Flair and Arn Anderson or whatever. I mean, I think they're
Arn
the
and
greatest.
Tully are definitely in my top 20.
Yeah, I think they're the greatest, probably the greatest stable in the history of wrestling. So they had to be here for me. And then the top 3, I mean, the three was the Young Bucks, but they could be anywhere for me. 2, I had the Dudley Boys. And number 1, I got the Hardy Boys. So I mean, when it comes to it, a lot of us have the same, the same kind of, just in a little bit different order. So
our next list, well, one of the lists in the future should be factions. I think that's why they weren't in my list.
That'd be a great list too.
I consider them a faction more than a tag team. So that's why they were not like on my list. That was only reason.
No doubt. So yeah, I mean, everything's been said obviously about the Hardy Boys, but I think they're hands down the number 1 greatest tag team of all time.
Yeah.
Cannot go wrong.
So, are we going to pick a unanimous group 5? CM?
I mean, we all agree Hardy's number 1, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think we all agree Hardy's the number 1, right? I mean,
Should we have FTR as number 5?
I mean, they didn't make my list, but in hindsight, I think I'm okay with that.
I'm not hating on that.
I'm not going to argue with that.
All right, so we have 5 and 1 on number 4.
Number 4, I'm gonna throw Usos out there.
Either Usos or New Day. Which one? I would mind
Usos number 4, New Day number 3. For me.
Okay, that's what it would be for me. I would have had New Day number 3 and Usos at 4.
I'm okay with the Usos at 4.
Okay.
Right. So does that mean Young Bucks at number 2?
Young Bucks number 2.
Yeah. I have an issue with the New Day at 3, but
would you switch them and Usos?
Yeah, I'd have either the Usos or the New Day, and I'd go with the Usos myself. But I don't think they both belong in the top.
All right. So you would have had Young Bucks at 3.
I think the Dudleys belong in the top 5 somewhere. Yeah, I mean, I think they have.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
So how about
number
5? Number 5, we have the Dudleys. Number 4, we have Usos and New Day.
Like as a tie?
Yep.
As a tie.
I'm fine with that. And FTR. FTR. Yeah, I can roll with that.
I maintain if we had an FTR versus New Day match.
Yeah.
Or a legit match. Heck
as like a triad, they all would be together, but right now
they could have been like the Raw 6 or a new generation of the SmackDown 6.
We'll be about to get that.
Yeah. But I agree with I'm fine with having a New Day and Usos in the same spot, because I feel like whenever you talk about like one of them, you can't really talk. You have to talk about the other.
No doubt.
Exactly. All right. Yeah.
And number 3 was the Bucks.
Dudleys, right?
No, Dudleys were 5. Number 3 was FTR.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And then who did we decide on 2?
Young Bucks.
Young Bucks, and then won the Hardys. Yeah. All right.
Yes, sir.
That's fine. I'm good with that. I think that touches all bases.
Yeah.
So now we're ready to move on to who we think is going to beat Roman Reigns?
Yes. I definitely want to hear everyone's picks.
This one was really hard. This was really
It was hard for me to come up with 2 because I know who the number 1 person is I want to beat Roman, but I came up with 2 others.
Again, this was hard because it's one of those like favorite versus, best things, because it's like I know who I want, but I don't know that they're in line in any way, shape, or form, or that anyone would ever think that they would do it. So it's weird.
For real.
Like, I don't know. So who wants to? I think we should do this round. I think we should all go 3, and then all go 2, and all go 1, instead of all doing 3, 2, 1 each.
Yeah, okay. I like that.
So who wants to start with 3? I'll go first.
Yeah.
Number 3, I got Brock, and I hate to say it, but I just think it's because it's Brock and Roman, and for some reason, WWE seems to think that Brock and Roman work well together. I have no idea how they're going to end up working it out, and I know that right now Brock is in a story with, it appears to be with Bobby Lashley, which is better, because at least I don't have to see him with Roman anymore, but somewhere down the road, I can't help but imagine that somehow Brock is going to be back in the Roman orbit.
Yeah, he's not in my list, but I understand your reasoning fully.
Did Anika fell out?
I just because it's WWE. Like I understand it. I know the Triple H is.
I don't want it. I don't want it at all.
Yeah.
In fact, I'll be very pissed if they do it. But
I can totally see them doing it.
I rebuke that. No. Never again. I rebuke it. Where's the oil? No. No. I don't think that was realized, man. No.
Again, these were viable candidates, not people we wanted.
We don't want it.
He wouldn't be on my list of people I wanted to beat him for sure, no doubt.
You beat him 3 times. No.
I know.
Brock Lesnar is no longer a viable candidate to beat Roman Reigns. He has gotten beaten multiple times by Roman. Yeah. At this point, he needs to just get beat up by Bobby Lashley.
Please.
I tend to agree with you. There's some weird incestuous relationship between WWE and Brock Lesnar, and I never.
It's prime time for deer and bear season. Just let that man go and
right.
Let God.
Yes.
All right. Who wants to go next at number 3?
Yeah.
Negro Buck, you want to
go? Sure, I'll go. At number 3, I have Bobby Lashley. Yeah, just because I was trying to, think of people that, it's hard to think of people other than, that, Roman hasn't, already beaten or gone against. Yeah. And I know that he and Bobby have wrestled each other in the past, but I don't believe that they've had a straight-up one-on-one match with Roman as the tribal chief. And I just feel like, Lashley would be a good candidate just because, he's shown what he can do, and he's shown that he can be a viable, player in the main event scene. He's had good runs with the U.S. title. He had a good WWE title run. And right now, he's over real big as a babyface. I feel like in terms of, just thinking about who's a good babyface that's in, decent shape when it comes to booking, when it comes to being over. I know he just lost, the title to Seth, but we all know what that was about. I'm really hoping, he's not my first choice to beat Roman, but I feel like he's just as good of a choice as anyone else. And, if he beat Brock, let me manifest this. When he beats Brock, that'll be, Brock, that's a great notch, to have him stake his claim as, someone who's in line for the world title. So number 3, I have Bobby Lashley.
I don't hate that at all. It really is the matter of what to do with him after he wins the title.
Exactly.
But like you said, right now he is primed to be in that spot. So no, I have no complaints.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's one of the few guys that has what I would call the size and strength to match up with Roman and make it look realistic. And
yeah.
Bobby's not my favorite wrestler in the world, but I think sometimes he can be a little clunky in the ring. But Roman's clunky in the ring, so I don't expect a whole lot. But I'd be happy with that match anyhow. I'd be for Bobby Lashley and Roman Reigns. At least it's new.
For sure. Yeah, it'd be a good little hoss fight, I think.
Yeah.
Spear versus spear.
There you go. You'd see a lot of spears.
Yeah. Shit, I would love it if we had that match, and I would love it if he busted out the Dominator.
There you go.
Right? Yeah. He does it well too. That's the thing. They do.
Beat him with spear him 3 times and beat him with the Dominator because Roman's not tapping to the Hurt Lock.
Yeah, that's not happening.
That'd be awesome though if he did make him tap to the Hurt Lock.
One thing I think would be interesting is if they had that match is if he had him in the Hurt Lock and he's struggling and then Roman breaks the grip.
Yeah.
Because that could be a good callback to when Bobby broke the Master Lock from Chris Masters back in 2007.
Yep.
Yeah. No. I can see that story, and I wouldn't mind seeing that on TV.
Yep.
I'll go next.
All right.
honestly, I have a number one. So it was like, okay, who other two dudes could do it? I don't understand. But like I don't like Seth Rollins.
Yeah.
Like last year Survivor Series, and he was trolling Roman by coming back as in the Shield outfit. I was so
A1
ready
mind
for them
games.
to run that
Yes.
back at me. Honestly, why it was not Brock versus Roman versus Seth, an actual triple threat, not a cash in at WrestleMania, is beyond me. Like it really was right there. Like for Seth, it's one of the things where did Roman ever beat Seth in a match?
In a match? No, he hasn't.
So you have that.
Yeah, because he got disqualified. He got disqualified in their last match because Seth was in his head.
Right. He won't allow me to let him go. He won't allow me to let him go.
Yeah.
That
is a good pick because you mentioned that. Yeah, because he hasn't. Yeah, he has not actually beaten Seth.
So just
I didn't even think about that.
Like, because with Roman, I need the story to be there. I really need the story to be there. It's not just for you to pick someone. I need it to be actually a build up and a good. When he does it, it's going to be like, oh, yes. And so I think the story is there with him and Seth, and I wouldn't mind them running that back. So number 3 is Seth. The freaking
for
Rollins.
Sure. Great pick. Great pick.
It's so wide open that both of those guys are more than reasonable people to consider for sure.
Yeah.
You want to go see him?
My number 3 is Sami Zayn.
Yep. There you go.
I think this storyline is building up to Sami. Let me phrase it. Yeah, I'm gonna just go with Sami for this one. Sami Zayn.
Okay.
Yep.
We'll explain later.
My number 2 is Sami Zayn. So I mean, it is what it is.
Same.
He's a number 1.
I have Sami at number 2.
And the great thing about Sami is not only does he touch this list in being, I think, truly viable, I hope in Triple H's eyes, but story-wise he's viable as well as he's my favorite to want to do it too.
Yes,
like if
I
could
love
pick anybody in WWE right now to beat Roman Reigns, it would be Sami Zayn.
Yes,
not just because of the bloodline stuff, but just because he's so amazing. And he deserves it. He's due something special.
Yes, the stuff with the bloodline is a huge plus. But just how good he's been, and we talk about all the time him taking anything he's given and turn it into gold, and I would, the story's right there with everything, and you could have him. He's been playing heel for like a while, but you can just so easily have him step right back into that underdog from the underground type role where everyone's behind him and everyone wants to see him win. It's still I know he's not the kind of guy that Vince saw as a main eventer, but when he was really white hot, coming off of NXT, coming off that rivalry with Owens, it blows my mind that sometime between 2016 to 2018, it blows my mind that he didn't win a Royal Rumble.
Yeah,
because he would have been just such a great underdog that everybody's rooting for. Because I mean and we had. Brian never won the Rumble whenever he was there, and he was another one that should have had that everyone was behind. And
we
I definitely
go there.
Yeah, but I definitely could see. Yeah, I would love. He's not my number 1, but I would have no qualms at all if Sami were to unseat Roman for the titles.
If this was 6 months or a year ago and Vince was in charge, he wouldn't be on my list because I don't think Vince saw anything in Sami
for
as
sure.
far as pushing him that way. But I hope that Triple H does. I think Triple H sees him differently. So
for sure,
I think he does. Yeah. All right, so that's everybody's 3. Let's go to number 2.
That was my number 2. Number 2 with Sami Zayn.
Yeah, so. He was my number 2 as well.
All right. So you got at number 2, Anika?
My number 2 is actually Cody Rhodes.
That's my 1.
That's my 1. So Sammy's my number 1. Cody's my number 2. And because and the reason why Cody's my number 2 is because he got injured, so we have to put that storyline there. But the Royal Vince, like, I don't get why Vince does not see how the Royal Rumble is his golden ticket. It really is like you win it, you set it, you set the main event of WrestleMania up. You got 2 months to write the story. Boom, it's over. With Cody, he already set it up before he left. He was like, "My daddy,
I want to be the champion,"
but it wasn't on television. So I'm winning for my daddy. Period.
Yeah, and the biggest thing with Cody, I feel, is, as opposed to like other people on the roster, Cody has a clean slate with Roman.
Right.
And like you said, they can build that story in 2 months, and the story coming in with Cody is still, he's looking to, he was undesirable whenever he asked for his release, and then everything he did in the Indies and Ring of Honor, New Japan, and then creating AEW, he came back to WWE and he was undeniable. And he put on one of the best performances of the year in that Hell in a Cell match with Seth with that pec injury. And, I will never understand how he was able to do it, but he did. Like, after that, he's a made man in my eyes.
It's like, baby boy.
Yeah.
You don't have to do this.
Bruh, chill. But yeah,
people know you.
Yeah.
People know you.
That's his whole thing is, he wants to win the big one in WWE for his dad. And, I know that certain people like SP3 and other people have said in the past where it's like, it's just about Cody getting the belt. He doesn't necessarily need the rub of beating Roman, but it's what I want to see. Story-wise, he's run through all these people theoretically in WWE. It's like, and I get just think of the optics of this guy. Yeah, like I said, he was undesirable. He came back, and now he's undeniable. While you've been carrying the torch, he's like, I had to reinvent myself from the ground up, just like you did. But you did it while you were still here, and even before you did it, you were still, handed everything, so to speak. And I took everything that I wanted, and I have one last thing that I want that I'm going to take.
Sometimes if the story is there, giving the rub to somebody, especially if the person who needs the rub is not there. Before this goes stale, but before people are over it, make this story work. And so, yeah, like you said, Cody doesn't need it, but the story is there and it works. So get out of your minds about who needs it and write the story. And
exactly.
It's a good story with Cody.
Yes.
I don't think there's anything wrong with Cody there. He was out of my mind just because he's injured and not on TV right now, so I wasn't thinking about him. And I'm not a Cody Rhodes fan, so I'm not gonna lie, my bias kind of sneaked in a little bit. But I'm not a Brock fan either, so I don't want to see either of them. So
hoping for it, hoping that my boy is back for a surprise appearance in the Royal Rumble.
You know he's trying to go. He's working real hard.
Of course.
Not even holding his baby, but holding the 5-pound weight.
Yeah.
No doubt.
Come on, baby. Hey. Come on, baby.
So these guys swapped. Nick and Anika swapped their 1s and 2s. So who do you got at 1? CM, we're up to. Or you're up.
I'm at number 2. I haven't given my 2.
Okay.
You're at 2. Sorry.
My 2 is a Fatu. Whether that is Jacob, whether that is Jimmy or Jay or
Solo.
Interesting.
Solo almost made my list.
Just because the story is there, especially with Jay, because it's kind of like Luke Harper. I told you this dude wasn't shit. You ain't listened to me about him not being shit. He really ain't shit. So there's
I'm very surprised.
The best tribal. Go ahead. Sorry.
Jimmy hasn't been able to really give as much as Jay has. Jacob, everyone kind of has his name in their mouths and they want him to come to WWE. I think when he comes to WWE, he will be a huge destructive power force. And what better way to do that than to beat the holy shit out of your cousin? And Solo is just like the third Uso that Wale prophesized.
Wild card.
Right.
The fact that he has the potential and the charisma. And it's actually more over than Roman when Roman was kind of in his place.
Yeah, I can see that.
And just Solo, I feel like the story that would be an interesting story too, where it's like, obviously we see how close Roman is with Jimmy and Jay, and Solo's, the third brother, and he talked about it recently in this interview where he was like,
Mm-hmm.
I always saw Roman just because, he was hanging with my brothers because they're around the same age. But he said,
Right.
whenever he got to help him out of Clash at the Castle, that was the first time that he had like seen Roman in person in like 20 years.
It's like, and he looks like a grown behind man. I'm like, what's? He's like,
Yeah.
there's the age difference between him and the brother. Like, what's the age difference? 5,
Yeah.
10 years? Yeah, look like it's only 3.
Yeah,
Honestly.
and I like the story too, where they had at Clash at the Castle where, the Usos couldn't travel and Heyman wasn't there, and they had it where it was like the elders sent Solo to London to make sure that he kept the belt. So like just imagine that. The guy the elders sent to make sure that you stayed champion, he's the guy who takes the belt from you.
There's about an 8-year difference between them two.
Yeah.
Can
we talk about the elders real quick? Who are the elders? His daddy and his Roman's
Alpha
daddy,
and
his half daddy.
I'm guessing Alpha and
Wild
Sika.
Samoans.
Yeah.
It can't be just these 2 people.
Kishi, yeah.
Where's Rikishi? You telling me Rikishi's like, yes, my all my sons should be underneath Roman.
I mean, he supported making Jay bow down to him, so yeah.
Yeah.
Rest in peace, Yokozuna.
What kind of
R.I.P.
daddy are you?
Yoko.
Where you think I can't beat my cousin? I'm just saying.
I mean,
I think the best work that Roman's done as a tribal chief was in his matches against Jey Uso.
Yeah, that early story, the rise of main event Jey Uso. Oh man.
Man, I would not mind them putting main event Jey Uso back on the burner. I was very surprised last Friday when he helped Sammy, and then after the match, they're like, "What are you talking about?" I did by myself. I'm like, "Wait, hold up,
gaslighting him, dude, like so much."
Like you really didn't see him.
I knew they were going that way as soon as he was like, "Hey, Sammy, you welcome." I was like,
y'all really didn't see him help you, yeah, it's so many twists. It's like, I wouldn't mind that at all. Like you said, that Hell in a Cell match where we did not know how that was going to go down and how Jimmy was trying to help them out, but he got choked out. I'm like,
the tears when he pulled the tears out.
Yep.
And then the match, he's going.
To be fair,
fake tears.
Clean. Jay has been the closest in a clean match.
Yes.
Clean match.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yep. All right.
The idea of Jacob coming in and like being the one to beat him, that's a great idea too. Because I mean, what a way it would be to debut the Samoan werewolf.
If Jacob Fatu comes in, they need to give him the Goldberg treatment. Like you said, just make him a beast, make him undefeated for a while, and just let him run through everybody.
I'd put him with Jay and just let them run roughshod. But who is y'all's number one?
So my number one, and I think it's because he's so big right at the moment because of his return this last week, 2 weeks. And he needs something to do, and he's going to be the biggest thing in WWE besides Roman Reigns. He might be the biggest thing in WWE, including Roman Reigns. It has to be Bray Wyatt. I don't know how they're going to weave that story. I don't know how they're going to weave the story, but it's got to be Bray Wyatt. It's got to be Bray Wyatt.
Well,
because he's got to do something, right? I mean, what's he going to do? Settle into a mid-card feud? Of course not. I mean, he's going to do something. They're going to push him, and it's got to be.
Like, he dropped the belt to Roman.
There you go.
People don't remember that. That was the last time he had the belt was at SummerSlam.
Forgot about that.
Then when Alexa Bliss was with him and she was kind of mesmerized, like Alexa Bliss was at the belt, like for Bray Wyatt. It's like it is right there as well. People like Bray don't need. I'm tired of this. Bray don't need the belt. We don't like right now.
It would be nice to see, but he doesn't really need it.
Roman don't need 2 belts. That's what needs to. So let's get out of the realm of.
That's the thing I'm waiting for the most is for them to separate the belts again.
Yeah, no doubt. So you two already said who your number ones were, Nick and Anika.
Yeah.
So who you got in number one, CM?
Bray Wyatt. We don't often talk about the fact that Bray said anyone but you, Roman, and we never really got that fleshed out program. We don't
know exactly what that means.
I retweeted it. I'm not sure if I retweeted it on my profile or on our profile. The match where they were a tag team, Bray is pinning someone,
and he does the Yeah.
And just
Roman hits the spear.
like their chemistry is
That's one of the cleanest finishes I've ever seen.
That level of chemistry you cannot teach, you cannot buy, you cannot do anything but watch and enjoy that.
Those promos would be fire.
Like, I know people are like, the pandemic era matches were hard to watch, and they were. But the end of 2020, 2021, those were some great stories. And one of the great stories was when Bray was still the Fiend, and Roman was the champ. Like, I really was waiting for that to happen, but I think it was like it was a draft, and it's like, no,
Yeah,
no,
they sent him to Raw.
no, not before this happened. So yes, that's still there's a lot of meat on that bone. I don't care about keeping Wrestling title. I really don't. Put it on him and let's see what happens.
Yeah. I guess I hadn't thought of Bray just because I'm still waiting to see exactly what is in store for him and exactly what the Wyatt 6 turns out to be.
Sure.
Because, people have been talking about it being, his stable and all that. But have you guys seen the stuff where people are talking about what if the Wyatt 6 are these 6 separate personalities in his head?
Bray Wyatt?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love either one, but I would
sure.
more so would like to see how the personality thing would work. So yeah, I'm so excited.
That theory with the personalities is crazy, but if anyone can make it work, it's him.
Right?
Yeah, I'm all in to see what he does.
Bray Wyatt.
Yes.
I'm all in for it, for sure.
Put him on Raw.
Put him on everything. Yeah.
Yep. We ready for CM's Clown of the Week?
Yes.
I just like to show this picture. Hopefully y'all can see it.
Oh shit, that's you, sorry.
Hi guys. My clown of the week. At first I was gonna say Tony Khan. Because it's Tony Khan and I don't like him. Then I was gonna say Randy Orton. Don't like him either. However, today, scrolling my Twitter timeline, I saw Disco Inferno get all in his little Disco Inferno panties because he is super upset that Black people are looking up other Black people. Let me digress for a moment. We have Will Washington, after hearing that Bianca Belair has been the longest Black female champion, he wants to go and look up other Black champions. Not a problem, right? He tweets it. Disco Inferno decides, no. That's discrimination. Why does that matter? He says. Now, I don't know if you all remember how emotional everybody was when Kofi Kingston won that belt. We were happy because besides The Rock and Ron Simmons, we had not had a Black heavyweight champion like that. He was the focal point. He was everything. He was our champion. Grown men cried. I cried. I'm not a man, but I cried because that was a moment. I showed it to my students. They cried. But Disco Inferno doesn't want you to remember that. He wants us all to lump him in. And that's a problem, friends. Wrestling is about diversity and appreciating those differences. That is why we have the David versus Goliath matches. That is why we have matches where one wrestler has a specialty. That is why we do the things that we do and love it. We love to see those lovely things that make us all different. And we celebrate those differences. That is why AEW has been such a force because of all of the differences that they have had and how they have supported those somewhat. Lately, only during June. However, Mr. Disco Inferno, sir, I need you to figure out what it is that you're doing in life and not do that. You can take a long walk off a short peel. You can go relive your glory days on Peacock. You can go do something that does not involve being around other humans where I might see it because you are not a clown. You are a dumbass. Wrestling and diversity matter. Is it really that hard? Is it really that upsetting to look at our differences and celebrate them? Is it really that bad that we have to know those differences in order to really fully appreciate them? The only bad thing about Will Washington having to go and look up the other Black champions is the fact that it might have taken him a while. It's the fact that we don't talk about Naomi as the first FCW women's champion. It's the fact that Ron Simmons doesn't get talked about for his women. It's the fact that we had NWA Black champions and they don't get mentioned in the lineage. It's the fact that before Kofi Kingston, in between The Rock and Kofi Kingston, if you won a major belt in WWE and you were Black, you were secondary. That is the sad fact. Not the fact that someone had to go and look it up and wanted to celebrate the differences. So you, Disco Inferno, get Clown of the Week or Clown of your lifetime, because anything that you tweet, say, breathe, no clown like. You should have been number one on the most punchable faces. But like most everybody else, we forgot about you.
I gotta say, that is the funniest funeral I have ever attended. As soon as I heard Disco Inferno, cracked up laughing.
And I had a perfect thing for CHK. I was so ready.
And if I could just
CHK, it's gonna be fire. But you gotta give other people before you get CHK.
On the topic of Disco Inferno, real quick, and just how I feel about him and other people, I would just like to read. I would like to read a tweet real quick from one Cody Rhodes regarding Disco Inferno. I don't know what he was talking about. It was definitely some bullshit, but Cody's tweet says it all. Stop. You know nothing. You've drawn $0. No fan has ever left a show thinking about you. You were lucky to be a juiced up double lifer over with the boys type in an era where you hid in plain sight, coasting on others. Couldn't hang then, couldn't get booked now. And I also think Eddie Kingston said the only reason that you were around on WCW as long as you were was because the boys kept you around to laugh at you.
Oh, no. Yep. He said you never did the work. Eddie Kingston, you never did the work, and the boys kept you around to laugh at you. I remember hearing the story where Big Show farted in your face. He was responding to Disco, talking about the ratings and how people are trying to kill themselves for a Meltzer rating. And Disco was talking about the fat shaming that occurs in wrestling and how that perpetrates. Eddie got upset because a lot of folks don't know, but the wrestling industry does have a lot of eating disorders and body.
For sure.
Because folks look at their bodies and make little comments.
Mm-hmm.
So apologies to Matt Hardy for
I love it.
For disparaging
apologies, Matthew. I will pick on something else besides your body when you were getting older, because as we age, we do put that in different places. But I don't have spandex to highlight that. So all right. So do we have anything else?
I love it.
I do not. I
can't think of a better way to close out the show.
I would agree with
So
that.
as we prepare to close out our show, please come back here with us on Friday to watch us as we watch AEW Rampage. That will be at 10 o'clock p.m. Eastern, 7 Pacific, 9 Central.
It'll be live this week.
I forgot about. Yes, it is going to be live.
Look, all I care. Look, I'm gonna go ahead and tell y'all. Y'all might lose me when Jay comes out there for reasons.
Right?
For reasons. So I have been girl CM. I got ALW, the Negro Buck, Nick Jackson, and Miss Annika Wilson over here with that lovely natural hair. Love it. You all have a great rest of your early morning. Have a great rest of your week. We will see you here with us on Friday. Peace.
Peace.
Take it easy, everybody.